For the last year, we've been investigating what really happens to our plastic recycling. The trail has led us here, to a yard 20 kilometers outside the Bulgarian capital. Just after dawn, we walk onto the facility. We discover packages produced by some of the biggest consumer goods brands on Earth: Nestlé, PepsiCo, Mars. They promised this material would be recycled. But we have discovered it here, shipped 3,000 kilometers from one side of Europe to the other, not to be recycled, but apparently to be burned. In this film, we are investigating the dirty secret of the global packaging industry.
You know, if there's a problem with this material, they cancel your license. It is a very, very
Bence buna hiç odaklanmasın.
If you want to work in this business,
We uncover a worldwide network where plastic is burned, hidden, smuggled, and dumped.
And so this is 100% unrecyclable.
Why are we being told a story about recycling that doesn't match the reality?
They make billions and billions of dollars of profit.
Almost everything we buy comes wrapped in plastic. 150 million tons of it every year, and rising exponentially. But more and more brands tell us that we shouldn't worry. Their products are now 100% recyclable. Recycling expert Thomas Fischer believes this is mostly greenwash.
Ist ja furchtbar. Fangen wir am besten an. Steht drauf, dass dieser Getränkekarton ganz besonders gut und leicht zu recyceln sei. KitKat, hier hinten ist so ein Zeichen drauf, was den Leuten suggerieren soll, dass die Verpackung recycelt wird, wenn sie in der Recyclingtonne landet. Da drin die Produkte, das merkt man, die sind einzeln verpackt. Wozu muss man davon 4 verpackte Produkte noch mal in so einem Foliensack einpacken? Umweltfreundliche Verpackungen werden für Verbraucherinnen und Verbraucher immer mehr zu einem kaufentscheidenden Kriterium. Und das führt eben dazu, dass viele Unternehmen anfangen zu tricksen, weil sie merken, ohne irgendwelche grünen Sprüche geht es nicht mehr. Und vor allen Dingen solche sinnlosen Verpackungen, wie wir sie hier haben, für eine Biowurst von Nestlé, da wird drauf geschrieben, recycelbar. Was soll das bei den Leuten im Kopf auslösen? Kauf mein Produkt in dieser total unsinnigen und überverpackten Verpackung. Und hier werden solche grünen Sprüche rausgehauen, wie hilf uns zu recyceln und die Welt ein Stückchen besser zu machen.
Under pressure from their customers for an answer to the plastic flood, the biggest brands in the world are reassuring us with ever more ambitious targets and promises.
Nestlé officially pledged to make 100% of their packaging recyclable by 2025.
Every last bit of it.
Something called the circular economy.
So please help us to close the loop on plastic and let's make our blue planet blue again.
But something doesn't add up. Despite more and more supposedly recyclable packaging, almost none of the packages in a supermarket are actually made from recycled material. Why not? To understand, we have to go back 30 years to when the recycling dream began. In the early 1990s, the developed world faced a massive trash crisis. Landfills were filling up. Something had to be done. So in Germany, a radical new system was imagined.
Verschiedenste Produkte sind mit einem geheimnisvollen Zeichen versehen.
Ich könnte mir vorstellen, dass das was mit der Umwelt zu tun hat.
Die Umwelt muss man ja was tun, nicht?
The goal? To build a circular economy.
Nur so können leere Verpackungen wieder in ihren Rohstoffkreislauf gelangen.
The system spread around the Western world.
Sachez que ce point vert.
C'est le petit point vert là.
A huge campaign is being launched today
On
to
entre là dans
recycle
une nouvelle
household waste.
époque de l'anti-gaspillage et de l'anti-pollution.
In dozens of Western countries, citizens were taught to separate their waste into different bins, so the plastic, paper, and metal could be recycled over and over again.
For every 4 feet of newspaper you recycle, 1 tree is saved.
This vast new infrastructure was paid for by us. In some countries via tax, in others by a fee on every package we buy. So how can it be that 3 decades later, we are producing more packaging made out of new plastic than ever before? We've come to one of the most advanced sorting facilities in the world to find out. Jens Blumer now deals with 50 million recycling bags a year. His site contains millions of euros worth of state-of-the-art German engineering.
Das ist dann unsere erste Siebtrommel. Das Material kommt von hinten hier reingelaufen und man sieht hier die verschiedenen großen Löcher. Durch die Drehbewegung wird in verschiedene Größen sortiert und geht dann in die nächste Siebtrommel.
Was kostet so eine Trommel?
200.000 Euro plus Montage.
After being sorted by size, the plastic passes through 20 infrared scanners, able to recognize shapes, colors, and even the chemical makeup of the plastics.
Das hier ist ein Scavenger. Es wird Licht aufs Band geworfen, das wird reflektiert und der Rechner findet halt in Millisekunden den Standort auf dem Band und gibt dann am Scheitelpunkt einen Druckluftstoß und schießt das Produkt, das wir haben wollen, positiv auf die andere Seite. Und der Rest fällt runter und geht zum nächsten Sortierschritt.
Just 15 minutes later, at the end of the process comes 14 sorted fractions. Metal, paper, and a dozen types of plastic. At first glance, this looks like a system that is working. But whilst the metal and paper here will very likely become another package, the plastic will almost certainly not. The plastic we throw away is often far too difficult and dirty to recycle cheaply. New plastic is much easier to work with and much less expensive. Globally, only around 2% of plastic packaging will go around in a closed circle. The idea of a circular economy is as far away as ever. What everyone calls recycling is actually mostly downcycling. Transformation into lower quality products like park benches, fence posts, and flower pots. Better than nothing, but after that detour, it will still become rubbish. But most of the material in Blumer's yard is not even good enough to become a flower pot. So what happens to the plastic that can't even be downcycled?
Also in den Feldern 9, 8 und 7, das sind unterschiedliche Fraktionen, die aber alle in die Thermik gehen und damit dort eben halt den fossilen Brennstoff substituieren. Ja, im Prinzip bezahlen wir dafür, dass das hier abgeholt und verbrannt wird.
Und das wird wirklich alles verbrannt?
Und das macht den größten Anteil aus. Ja.
%70 of Europe's packaging is landfilled or, increasingly, burned. On the outskirts of Copenhagen is the only hill in the city, designed by Denmark's most celebrated architect, Bjarke Ingels. But we've come here to see what is underneath the artificial slopes. Denmark has pioneered the world's most advanced waste incinerator. This is a €500 million power plant which burns 400,000 tons of waste a year, including material imported from across Europe.
17, men til nummeret under. Ja, nummeret under, ikke?
Jakob Simonsen runs the facility, which provides electricity for 150,000 households in the city. Plastic might be hard to recycle, but it's made out of oil, so it burns well.
Det her er en af vores 2 ovne. Brænder 35 ton i timen. Og inde i ovnene, der er der en temperatur på over 1000 grader. Vi rent faktisk går ind i ovnen for at vedligeholde selve brandkammeret inde i ovnen.
In this furnace, 80% of the waste is burned off as fumes. The rest is left as a solid material called slag, which is then treated and used in construction.
Brændeaffald udvikler selvfølgelig en masse røg og andre kedelige stoffer. Men vi har 2 fodboldbaner af rensningsteknologi derude. Det er elfiltre, det er det, man kalder scrubber, og det er katalysatorer og anden teknologi, der skal sikre, at den røggas, vi udleder, den er fri for miljøfremmede stoffer. Så når vi laver energi ud af et restprodukt, der ikke kan genanvendes, så kan vi lade være med at producere energi på olie, kul og gas. Og derfor er det en rigtig grøn energiform.
But there's one substance that none of these filters can get rid of: CO2. Plants like these release more carbon dioxide than gas-fired power stations. Waste-to-energy plants in Europe already emit 52 million tons of CO2 a year, more than Portugal with its 10 million inhabitants, and we're building more.
But in the end, this is a fossil fuel power station that produces CO2. How does that fit with a net zero future?
Vores opgave, det er at håndtere et samfundsmæssigt og affaldsmæssigt problem. Vi er her for at håndtere affaldet fra byen. Og så længe der er affald i byen, så er der brug for sådan nogen som os. Det er klart frustrerende. Jeg ville jo ønske, at man ikke havde brug for affaldsenergianlæggene, fordi man ikke havde noget problem med plastik. Men vi har et problem med plastik.
Plastic waste is not, as the packaging companies want us to believe, a valuable raw material. It is a problem to get rid of. And for 2 decades, the West had a simple solution to this problem. They sent it to China, millions of tons every year. Western countries paid China to take their recycling and then asked few questions about what happened to it. In 2018, that all changed. Struggling with their own plastic pollution problem, China banned plastic waste imports almost entirely. Europe and North America had to scramble to find a new way to get rid of their plastic problem. And a criminal network emerged to help. To understand the plastic black market, we decide to go undercover. We recruit a plastic industry insider to help. He will play the role of a waste broker, one of the middlemen who arrange the international waste deals. We call him Kumar. We set up a fake website and get a burner phone. Then we reach out to waste dealers around the world who might agree to take some low-quality plastic waste. Soon, we have a bite. A Turkish broker.
Hi, my name is Kumar and I was looking for plastics recyclers because I haven't shipped to Turkey before.
Yeah, I see, Kumar.
Is it possible you can take dirty material, for example, the packaging waste coming from the house?
Oh, MRF. Okay, so the thing is, mixed plastic is not allowed in Turkey.
Although it's not allowed, he has a suggestion for how they can sneak the material past Turkish customs. By hiding the illegal plastic waste in the shipping container behind one layer of good material called LDPE.
Do you have any LDP films to load in the containers nearby doors?
Near the door?
Yeah, so once you open the doors of the containers, you don't see MRF, you see LDP.
Okay.
That's the way how we're gonna do it.
So a few weeks later, we head to Turkey with Kumar to see if we can seal the deal. The broker is asking for €35 for every ton he takes. After China banned plastic, brokers started shipping waste to other South Asian countries. Malaysia, Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia. One by one, they cracked down on imports too. By 2020, a quarter of Europe's waste exports were going to Turkey, much of it classified as being recycled. Before meeting the broker, we want to find out whether this imported plastic is really being reliably recycled. We arranged to meet Sedat Gundodo, a scientist and activist who has been tracking the illegal dump sites that have been appearing across Turkey.
Burası en önemli döküm alanlarından birisi. Burada insanlar yamaç paraşütü yapıyorlar. Doğa turizmi var burada. Hemen arkasında çok büyük bir illegal çöp döküm yeri var. Şurada 2-3 tane.
He also collects data on sites where plastic has been illegally burned, a problem that has rapidly increased in the last few years. Today, he's following a tip-off about a dump site just outside Adana.
Bu bölgeyi orada yaşayanlardan birisi internet üzerinden bana ulaşarak bildirmişti. İşte bu bölgede yasa dışı çöp dökümü yapılıyor. Sürekli yangın çıkıyor, dumanlar yükseliyor. Penceremizi açamıyoruz. Alan burası. Bunlar istiyorsan toz olmayan bir yere park et.
The tip-off was correct. The site is another illegal dump. Under this black dust, plastic waste is hidden to a depth of 3 meters.
Azlıkça çıkıyor. Bunlar etiketsiz. Yani orayı kazdıkça çöp çıkıyor. Bakın. Ya, Alman. Bu da İngiliz ya da İrlanda olabilir. Lidl marketlerinin Polish. Başka bir büyük market Tesco. İtalyan salamı. 2 tanesi 3 sterlin. Bedava gelmiş ama buraya. Geri dönüştür. Şimdi geri dönüştür. Çok acayip. Bunun gibi binlerce çöp var. Hepsinin üzerinde ne hikmetse geri dönüşüm yazıyor. Hepsi geri dönüştürülebilir. Hepsinin üzerinde o yeşil ok var. Green dot. İşarete aldanıyorlar. İnsanları kandırmaca. Kandırmacadan başka bir şey değil. Daha çok plastik tüketsinler. İngilizler, Almanlar bu çöplerinin ayrıştırılıp, toplanıp bunların bir şekilde dönüştürülmesi ya da imha edilmesi için para harcıyorlar ama geri dönüşüme girmesi gerekiyordu. İddia o. Ama tabii geri dönüşüme girmiyor.
Today, Kumar has a meeting with the Turkish broker. But just a few days ago, major news rocked the world of plastic brokers. Turkey has become the latest country to crack down on dirty plastic, with stricter inspections at the ports. We want to know if Kumar's deal is still on. The plan is to hide the illegal material at the back of the shipping containers. Kumar prepares his undercover camera for the meeting.
Hi, Kumar. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Sit down. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, all fine, cheers.
So most of the materials I have is only this.
Bu şekilde böyle.
Is all okay?
Çok zor. The thing is, yeah, we were able to do that, but it's a very
Bence buna hiç
risky
odaklanmasın. Bu şu an çok riskli. Kimse
If they catch this material in the custom, they cancel their import license.
Onunla da kalır.
Very risky.
Bunlar çok riskli.
But you told me we could do this way, right?
Before we were able to do that in the way that you show here. But the problem is, a couple of weeks ago, we had 20 containers come here.
Okay.
Normally they don't check all of the material, but what they did is for 20 containers, they took every material out.
Oh.
They checked one by one,
Okay.
and then they loaded again.
Okay, that is the problem.
Yeah, you see,
What
right
will you
now
do?
this is impossible.
No, it is impossible.
Right now.
Okay, understood. Where do you think it will go if Turkey is not willing to buy?
Gönderebilir. Belki Bulgaristan'a gönderebilir.
Maybe Bulgaria or something.
Okay.
We've come to meet Ernesto Bianchi from the European Anti-Fraud Office. His team of investigators have been tracking the growing crime of plastic waste trafficking. We show him what we found.
Is all okay?
The thing is, yeah, we were able to do that, but it's a very
Bence buna hiç odaklanmasın.
It matches what we see.
If they catch this material in the custom, they cancel their import license.
Onunla da kalır.
Very risky.
Yeah. I'm not surprised by what I saw. You see the adaptive behavior, you see how quick they are at reacting. So this is exactly what has been going on and what will continue to go on.
These fraudsters, you said, like, we would like to know what kind of individuals or crime groups are involved in this.
These people are very good. They get advice on legal issues, so they know where the loopholes are or can be. They know administrative practices. And if need be, of course, they can resort to corruption. And that's what makes investigation, detection even, extremely difficult. It is impossible to check every container, every day, in every point. It's, of course, an extremely lucrative, interesting market that attracts organized crime. The profit is around $11-12 billion worldwide. And these are figures that are very similar to the revenue that is generated by human trafficking.
As one country shuts down, the brokers soon find another vulnerable target. Kumar has another lead, in Bulgaria. Since China closed its doors, Bulgaria, the poorest EU country, has also become a major destination for waste from Western Europe. Importing plastic waste within the EU is not necessarily illegal, but it is governed by strict rules concerning quality, type of waste, and method of disposal. But are these rules actually enforced against the growing black market? We have arranged a meeting with a Bulgarian-based plastic waste broker. This time, Kumar is joined by another member of our team.
Thanks for coming, it's great.
Yeah, well, I can explain again what we do. Basically we recycle plastic, we resell it, and the unrecyclable plastic we send it to a city. We have a company.
The broker says he can arrange for our waste to be sent to a local cement factory where it will be burned as fuel, and that we shouldn't worry about the rules around imports because he can take care of the authorities.
Bulgaria is a very corrupt country, especially in this business. It's very delicate matter, you know, what to do with this. If you want to work in this business, you have to pay someone. Yeah, it's an environmental agency. This is what I do. Environmental. Yeah. If you want to be left alone, you give me something. I'll even tell you when will be the next time that we will come over to check you and this kind of thing. Or if there are some troubles with the order, that's the guy that I pay.
The broker invites us to come and see his facility.
Once you need waste permit, it's everywhere a long process. Here, the bureaucracy is long, but with my connections, definitely shorter. Like I said, if you know the right people, you can speed up the process.
Okay, so this is the facility. Great. Okay.
The site contains only one old small recycling machine, which isn't running when we arrive and looks like it hasn't been used recently.
Where's all this machinery from?
China.
It's Chinese.
So you mentioned that whatever you cannot recycle after sorting directly goes to the cement factory.
We ship it to the cement.
Okay.
Most of the material here will be sent to a cement plant. The cement industry is one of the most polluting on Earth, responsible for 8% of global emissions.
Hey, great.
For the cement industry, our plastic packaging makes a perfect fuel. They even get paid to burn it. So across the world, the industry is switching away from coal and now getting paid to use plastic as fuel instead. The consumer goods brands want us to believe recycling works, but we have uncovered that the money we pay for recycling is actually funding organised crime, corruption, fossil fuel power plants, and subsidising some of the most polluting industries on Earth. So are the promises made for recycling simply greenwash? Whilst reviewing the undercover footage that evening, we noticed something strange. Amongst the material in the yard are 30 bales from the UK, but they are like nothing we'd ever seen before.
This one goes all to the cement plant because this packaging here, because they're labeled and we can't recycle it.
Everything is multi-layer.
Yeah, we can't recycle.
I don't think there is any technology to recycle multi-layer packaging.
Otherwise, why they should pay for it?
Oh, they pay for it?
Yeah, of course, we charge them.
So at 4 a.m. the next morning, we return to the facility. We want to take a closer look. We notice that each bale is made up of only one type of packet: cat food, bread bags, crisp packets. We were told that it's all heading to be burned. Looking closer, we find a label. They've come from a company called TerraCycle. And we find a name. Alison Harding from Shaftesbury in the UK. What is TerraCycle? And why is this clean, neatly sorted material from the UK supposedly being burned in Bulgaria? We decide to track down Alison Harding.
I'm the recycling lady of Shaftesbury, or my property is the recycling place of Shaftesbury. I ask all local residents to come and drop off their collectible recycling into the selected bins. So this is the crisp packets. You can see it's overflowing. We have our personal hygiene, we have our confectionery, pet food, bread bags, cleaning produce.
Instead of putting this material in the normal recycling bin, where it will typically be burned or even landfilled, people bring it to Alison. She runs one of the thousands of volunteer collection points in over 20 countries, set up by TerraCycle. The rapidly growing company says it can recycle anything.
You know, I do this all for free in my own time, because everything does help in the future for all of us.
And so what does all this become?
So when it gets to TerraCycle, they do all the magic. So they're going to take the bread bag, they're going to melt it all down, shred it all up into little pieces, and then make it into their product. So whether it be the soap dish or whether it go into the watering can.
Each TerraCycle programme is sponsored and paid for by a different brand. This allows them to print the logo on their packaging. But what's the story behind this remarkable business?
Tom Sachets, the founder and CEO of TerraCycle. He's got a new solution for all of that waste. I love this, man. How'd you get so smart?
TerraCycle was founded by Princeton dropout Tom Sachets and has been hyped by the media.
The goal of TerraCycle is really to eliminate the idea of waste. One of the tricks to garbage is don't think of it as garbage. It's just another raw material. Things that have never been done before. Any form of waste can be recycled. Crisp bags can also be melted into this granule, and then that could be made into something like this, which is a dog bowl. So far, we have found that everything in the world is technically recyclable.
Tom Sachets has signed deals with most of the biggest consumer goods brands on Earth. As pressure rises from consumers for green options, brands pay TerraCycle to collect their material, and then they can claim their packages are really recyclable after all.
You know, we're now able to recycle cosmetic waste through your generous support at Garnier.
Garnier is proud to have partnered with TerraCycle.
Walkers has launched the nation's first crisp packet recycling scheme. All you have to do is save your crisp packets.
Just collect your empty packs of Johnson's baby wipes and send your packs to our friends at TerraCycle.
So why then did we find Alison's packaging in Bulgaria?
Alison, one of the reasons we wanted to talk to you today is because we actually have some stuff that belongs to you. Actually, we found this material.
Right.
And I would just like to, I'd be curious if you recognise it.
Ooh, I'll tell you. It's all crisp packets. This is all what I collect for TerraCycle.
That is actually material you did collect.
I did collect.
Yes.
Is it?
It had your name on it.
Did it?
We found a parcel that you sent, and unfortunately, I have to say, we found it in Bulgaria.
No. No way.
Yes.
It's all meant to be recycled in the UK. I can't believe that. That's quite heartbreaking. I'm saving my time, and I'm sure everyone will be devastated in the Shaftesbury neighbouring areas and those who do collect, because it makes you question, why am I doing it? Yeah. And I'm doing it to hopefully protect the future. It feels really weird having it back on my dining room table, yeah. And there's my name and address. This is one of my boxes, crisps. Yeah, see, that's my writing, crisps, 5.25 kilos in that box. I can't believe a company would do this. And I'm just, why? You know, they're not sticking to their word. I'd love to know what their CEOs say, basically. I am really stuck for words.
Tom Saki often talks to the media. We make an appointment to sit down with him.
We're good. Do you want me to sign this? Sounds good. We work today with just about every major consumer product company. So from Nestle to P&G, Unilever, Kraft Heinz, and hundreds of others. We have about 40,000 different customers. But just about every big brand you can imagine works with us somewhere.
40,000?
Yes.
I got some pictures for you.
Yes.
Do you recognize the material in these pictures?
These look like pet food bags.
Does it look like TerraCycle material?
It could be, but it also could be another facility. I have no idea.
Okay. This is actually TerraCycle material from the UK. We found 30 bales in Bulgaria where it was shipped to be burned in a cement factory.
Okay, but I can't comment that this is TerraCycle. How do you say it's TerraCycle material?
Because there were labels all over it.
So I don't, I'd have to check. I have no idea what these photos are or whether, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, but, and what do you think the volunteers would say when they see this?
You're throwing this on me, you're showing me some random photos. You're telling me everything you say is the case.
Mm-hmm.
What would you, sorry, is there a question here?
You don't feel that this is misleading for anybody?
I don't know what these pictures are. Okay. And you keep implying. Can you guys please stop filming for a moment so I can understand? Are the cameras off, sir?
Yeah.
Tom says he will look into what happened and get back to us. But we're not the only ones with questions about TerraCycle's business. Jan Dell runs a small environmental NGO in California. She has recently launched a lawsuit against TerraCycle. Most TerraCycle programs are for packages that are normally too expensive and technically complicated to recycle. As a former chemical engineer, Jan began to suspect that brands were turning to TerraCycle to help them greenwash their packaging.
I began to see this label pop up on lots of things.
Look at this, 265 water balloons, it's all these pieces of plastic. And I saw this label that said 100% recyclable with TerraCycle. And then I found it on more and more things. This is a number 7 plastic. That can't be made into anything. But look, I can recycle it at TerraCycle. And I thought, you know, what is this magic place? Who owns a magic factory? And all these companies are partners with them. Swedish Fish, Gillette, we've got L'Oreal in here, Henkel, there's a Swartkopf product. Oh, Bic pens, look at this.
Digging deeper, Jan discovered that many of the collection programs were limited. Although the brands can print the TerraCycle logo on all of their packages, they only contract TerraCycle to take back a certain number of them.
They actually only pay for this much to come back. They're not actually willing to pay for all of it. And that way, the companies can say all of their packaging, even their badly designed plastic packaging, is recyclable. And they can do it in a really cheap way. If they actually had to redesign that packaging, it would be hundreds of millions of dollars. It's so easy to be able to make a claim if you don't have to prove it, if you don't have to show the receipts. And I thought, wait a second, this can't be legal. I just want the labels to be honest, right? And so I contacted an attorney, a friend of mine who works in the product space. And what we did was we actually wrote a pre-suit letter and said, Dear TerraCycle and 8 big product companies, prove that it's recyclable. I hope it's a wake-up call to brands.
TerraCycle say they are not in a position to respond to our questions regarding Jan's legal action. They also say that the waste bales were sent to Bulgaria as a result of a one-off human error by a subcontractor. They were received by a Bulgarian-based recycling business, and there was never any intention for these bales to be incinerated. They also say that after being alerted to the bales in Bulgaria, they have arranged for them to be returned to the UK, where they will be recycled as originally intended. In the world's richest countries, 30 years of recycling has failed to turn back the plastic flood. But in the world's poorest communities, the problem is just getting started.
Ya, kalau pohon ini bisa bicara ya, dia pastinya sekarang sudah menangis. Soalnya akar-akar yang dia gunakan seharusnya untuk bernafas dengan lega, menghirup udara, dia jadi nggak bisa. Dia jadi sesak karena dicekik oleh sampah plastik. Tapi saya pernah melihat foto waktu saya masih kecil, waktu umur 5 lah kira-kira. Sampahnya belum separah ini, nggak terlalu penuh gitu ya. Masih terlihat kalau pasirnya pasir putih gitu.
Here in Indonesia, there is no widespread recycling or waste management system. But for the world's biggest packaging brands, this is a new growth market.
Ada Milo juga dari Nestle, Rio, Mentos.
Activists like Nina are left to try and clean up the mess. It's a losing battle. Global plastic production is due to double in the next 20 years. We've come to Singapore. Here, vast petrochemical facilities are being built to produce plastic and keep up with the soaring demand from the developing world.
You're looking at estimates of $400 billion going into new capacity for plastics making factories around the world. And that's going to result in a doubling of plastic production over the next 20 years. By 2050, 20% of all oil will be used to make plastic. And without serious intervention, you're looking at a quadrupling of plastic pollution over that time frame. So if you're living in one of these countries and you're already dealing with this tsunami of plastic waste, it's going to get a lot worse.
But the plastics industry has come together with a plan to solve plastic waste in poor communities for good.
There are nearly 30 companies that currently make up the Alliance, and that number is growing as we speak. Those companies cover the globe and represent every part of the plastics value chain.
So I'm very happy to announce today the formation of the Alliance to End Plastic Waste. We're ready to invest over $1.5 billion to identify projects and fund projects to really get at solving solutions.
But what is the Alliance's plan to end plastic waste? Once again, it's recycling.
We've got to be able to find ways to collect it and then create a value stream that generates the revenue to make that a full circular system. Yeah. This alliance is dedicated to making that happen.
There was a glitzy, expensive launch which was aired on National Geographic. $1.5 billion of investment to be made over 5 years, millions of tons of plastic waste to be diverted from the environment across more than 100 cities. I mean, these are massive promises by a coalition of huge companies. I think what emerged clearly from our investigation was that there was a chasm between what the Alliance had promised and what they delivered. The projects that they talk about are small community mom and pop type shops, recycling plastic into planks in the Philippines, litter picking projects that were collecting small amounts of plastic waste. You're talking 0.001% of the problem versus, some of the biggest companies in the world saying that they are going to end this crisis.
We've come to the headquarters of the Alliance. Are their ambitious promises for real, or are they greenwash?
Are you still on target to deliver millions of tons of diverted plastic waste within the first 5 years, or is that a target you have abandoned now?
No, indeed. I think the target to get to several million tons of plastic waste over a longer period of the Alliance's existence is absolutely a goal. Whether it's 5 years or whether it's a little bit longer, I think that's to be determined. And it's not just about the plastic waste diverted from the environment. It's ensuring that a circular economy is happening for that plastic.
If we're anywhere close to producing a circular economy, then why is it that oil and gas companies, most of whom are your members, are predicting that their plastics production is going to be doubling in the next few decades? That just doesn't seem compatible with a world in which plastic material is going round and round in a circle.
I mean,
sorry, I'm just going to jump in here. I think we agreed very early on that this, or at least the impression that we got was that this is not a pro-plastic or not kind of conversation. It was about the solution.
It's a totally reasonable question that you guys are focusing on trying to create a circular economy, and most of your members are also saying that they're going to be producing more and more virgin plastic over the next few decades. Those two things are completely incompatible, and I'm curious as to how you square that circle.
So, I mean, the production of plastic has been increasing over the decades, mirroring the growth in GDP and the growth in, I would say, the socioeconomic status of many communities around the world. And there is an increase in plastic production that's not incompatible with a circular economy. What we're aiming for is to improve the quality of post-consumer recyclates that can make their way into a circular economy and continue to be then part of the lifestyle that we all have.
But so far, the circular economy for plastics has failed. The majority of our plastic waste still ends up in the atmosphere or the environment. The consumer goods brands have promised us that recycling is key to solving the global plastic crisis. But for now, it seems, these promises are not worth the packets they're printed on.
The circular economy of plastics is the great charade that the plastics industry and products company are promoting so that they can keep pushing more and more single-use plastic and packaging out into the world. Why? Because they make billions and billions of dollars of profit to do it.
Soalnya sampah kemasan yang kita gunakan ini cuman kita gunakan beberapa menit gitu. Cuman kita pakai beberapa menit, bahkan beberapa detik. Terus saat kita buang sembarangan ke lingkungan, ia akan tetap hidup, ia akan tetap ada beratus-ratusan tahun.
Recycling is an incredibly seductive idea. For the industry, it offers the perfect solution to continue producing more single-use plastic. And for the consumers, for us, it makes us feel good. We put the plastic, into a bin, and someone tells us technology will solve your problem. Go about your everyday life, continue, nothing needs to change. But at what cost?